So this is a comment from somebody that I respect their drive to be an advocate for people that are incarcerated and stuff. And then she's talking about, there was a correctional officer that had cut the electricity off to like a section of a pod because there was some inmates that had went and gotten to the shower at rack up time, and I guess they refused to come out. And I had made a video about it, and my comment was like, she could lie to rank, and that rank would be satisfied with that answer because it would be plausible deniability for the rank anyway. And if he ain't getting in trouble, he ain't worrying about it, right? So let's talk about the reality of the situation, since she admitted it, right? What may happen then, if anything happens, and I still don't think anything is going to happen, but if something happens, she may get a little disciplinary that would say, Officer so-and-so was reminded or coached or given guidance on the policy and procedure of X, and provided with alternate opportunities in the future. And that's it. That's all that will happen. Now, I don't even think it would come to that. Now, but and it may not even be worded like that. I don't know how they're wording their disciplinary actions or whatever. Now, the other option, if this particular correctional officer, they're trying to get rid of her, then they will turn it into something big, right? It's going to be whatever the rank decides it to be. But seeing how they can't even afford to man category A positions at the Texas Department of Criminal Justice, I don't even believe like anything will happen, because they cannot get people they don't have people like it turnouts at sometimes, you know what I mean? Sometimes they just open the gate and let them go, you know what I mean? And so I don't think anything is going to happen at all. Or you know what would happen? They get the write-up and they pull her aside and say, listen, the lieutenant says, look, say next time that happens, do it over here. You know damn well there's no cameras over there, and we got cameras over here. And that's because that's the culture, and that's the kind of things that happen in situations like that. Because they call them hug-a-thugs in the prison, right? Like, people that are just overly friendly to convicts, they'll call them hug-a-thugs. A lot of times they refer to like preachers or people that come in there and, or just other kinds of people that are constantly advocating for, they call them that, and it's kind of looked down upon as a correctional officer, which means squat nothing, because we live in the free world in a society, and this isn't, so it doesn't mean anything. But that the attitude is like, you're just extra friendly to inmates, and they deserve what they get, is kind of the attitude most of the. But what I say here is, to me, this is a non-factor, a non-issue, because the inmates put themselves in that position. They're the ones that decided to jump in the damn shower whenever they knew it was rack up time, because the inmates, they're not brand new. They know exactly what they're doing. They're intentionally trying to give this boss a hard time, maybe right around count time, and just screw everything up. So it's because they know that boss has things to do. And maybe she is a hard ass, and maybe she shouldn't work out there. A lot of people shouldn't work out there. I'm not even debating this, and whenever I'm talking about this, I'm more talking about a generalization of this kind of incident that occurred, because I don't know the specifics of exactly this one. And generally, how I told you it would go with rank is generally how it would go in a lot of facilities. But it's peanuts to me, because there's so many more pressing issues right now that need to be advocated for and addressed. We got to still stay on that no air conditioning thing, because that is going to kill officers. That is going to kill inmates. 109 today, it'll be 109 tomorrow. It's just too damn hot not to have air in every one of these damn penitentiaries, and the state of Texas can afford it. So we should do it, because it's the right thing to do. You know what I mean? Something else that goes on in the prison, that why are we not advocating? And I'm not pointing fingers at people. I'm saying, as a society, why are we not advocating for mental health inside of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice? You know how much training I got on mental health when I started? Zero, none, not one word about mental health. You know how many mentally ill people I saw in prison? Copious amounts of people that had mental health problems inside of prison. There's no, we don't talk about it, we don't address it. And you know who else don't get help for mental health problems in prison? Correctional officers. On my back there in Seg where I worked, There was 2 people that I know that committed suicide. Where my brother worked, out of 40 people over the years, 6 people committed suicide. Do you know that the lifespan of a correctional officer is shorter than your average person, and they're more likely to be divorced? So not you will die alone and young and at your own hand if you go to work in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. And again, we've already talked about it. It's not necessarily any fault to anybody's own. If you have to have a job somewhere, you need a job. And these are not things that they tell you when you join the academy. They don't pull you aside and tell you this shit when you go to the academy to become a correctional officer. You know what I'm saying? Nobody talks about that. You know what I'm saying? It's just, and you're looked at upon like if you're weak, you know what I'm saying? If you go get counseling, like, and then people start to wonder, what's he telling the counselor? Is he telling them how we really do things? Like, what, you know, can we trust him anymore? And if you don't have that trust and support of your peers, then you're really alone in a very dangerous place. I encourage anybody that wants to advocate for people, inmates and stuff like that, call Austin and see if there's any way that you can get a tour of a maximum security prison in Texas. And that way, like, you will see what it really looks like, what it really smells like, what it really sounds like. You know, I believe at times they walk around, especially when a prison's about to open, they'll walk around showing off that brand new cell they made for little Jimmy down the road. You know what I'm saying? And so I encourage anybody to go out there and just look inside of a damn prison and see what it looks like. You know what I mean? Because it's very hard to but I cannot explain to you what it feels like when that door goes click and you're locked in there. It's you, one correctional officer and 75 guys. You know what I'm saying? It's you, 2 correctional officers and 300 guys. It's you and 144 inmates. What do you, like, you're one person, they give you 1 can of gas. So I'm not upset with the person whenever they turn off the electricity to get people to comply with what they're already supposed to be doing. And let's not ever forget this, that it's a penitentiary, right? Not everybody should be there. Not everybody deserves to be there. People should be treated humanely while they're there. But also on the same hand, they should be following the rules while they're there. And that would cut down on some of this unnecessary stuff from some of these bosses that are a little heavy-handed or robo-cops. You know what I mean? So, I mean, there's so many other pressing issues that I would worry about before I would worry about how a particular officer managed a pod and nobody got hurt. And, you know, what they're not saying is that when they do that, she's probably not, or I won't say her, generally a good boss is not going to sit there and write everybody up after they've done that. I mean, it's over with at that point. They've got out the shower, they've gone into the house, it's done. Whenever I've turned the lights on people, I've actually turned them on instead of off, and I didn't write anybody up after that, and they did what they needed to do. You know, it's hard to explain, and it's hard to work there. So we can go in on these officers and call and stuff, you know, and you know, we can, what is the best case scenario? They lose their job and now they can't support their family? Or is the best option, we don't focus so much on that penitentiary, but Austin and the lawmakers and the rule makers and the people that write the policies and procedures for the prison, and start getting these people better trained so they have more tools, so they are more knowledgeable, so they understand when a person is exhibiting signs and symptoms of a mental illness, they can recognize it and not just think it's a person being malicious or having a behavior. You know what I'm saying? We need to train people. We need to get people the knowledge that they need whenever they're working in these places. We need to create a better support system for inmates and bosses. And I'm talking, they both go hand in hand. They both are in a universe alone and together. Just, you know, so one just is way outnumbered by the other, you know what I'm saying? And expect to do an impossible task while being understaffed. And so what we should be doing is advocating let's get them air conditioning, let's get them their human rights taken care of, because it's wrong not to, but also let's start training these individuals better, because when you know better, you do better. That's what Michelangelo said, right? All right, I love y'all. I'll holler at y'all. Y'all be good. Take her easy.